Well, hello everybody, and happy Saturday. I know it's an unusual drop in. I was supposed to come on yesterday, but yesterday was just one of those days where everything was dear mekaar, op mekaar, boop mekaar, tussen mekaar, and yeah. So I decided today. So for those of you joining me, welcome. So good you again, and happy weekend. So hello Lisa D. Hello Day One. Oruru. Misty May. Nice to see you guys. Yay, so today we're going to be talking firstly about our amazing CRACKERMISS Christmas giveaway. Absolutely awesome. We're going to be going through that now. And then again, just some stuff that popped up on my newsfeed this week, so to speak. And we're talking again, something that is no stranger to this channel, and that is really the power and the influence of music and the rhythm of music and how they use music and dance as well as a psyop. And what I found completely interesting was really, and we're just going to again check a few video clips where we see that and chat about it. So I'd love to hear your feedback again on what we're popping out there. So yay, Mama, nice to Kathy Klein, nice to see you all. Okay, so let's see. First of all, let's have a look at our wonderful Christmas giveaway. Yay, Vanessa. That might have been a little bit quick for you all to see, but hey, check it out. So we have got 3 hampers as amazing giveaways for our viewers on this channel. We are incredibly grateful to you. But actually, before I put that up, let me just actually pop up the people, the faces of the amazing people who have partaken in this. So there'll be Rachel Vaughan, Marushka.com. All of you that have been on this channel forever know Marushka. She is actually one of my best friends, and she does amazing Evo fashion, which is working with only the high quality linens and makes the most and designs the most incredible linen clothing. You'll often maybe see me wear it. It's difficult to see when I'm on the channel. I absolutely love her. Rhodes, Jesse's Bota, and then of course Mornay and myself are there because we have also contributed a gift which is going to be in each hamper. So let me explain to you how this works. Hamper 1 is for Australia. So the reason why we're doing that, because you're going to see in each hamper are similar things, but we're working with 3 different hampers. So hamper 1 is a book by Jesse, Faithful in All His House by Jesse Zabota. Another book, Honeycomb Tales by Chantal, and obviously illustrated by Mornay. Beverly is giving a personal aura reading. For those of you who've been watching the shows with Beverly and watch how she decodes auras, wow, that lady has one special gift, that's for sure. And then Jesse's offering another $50 website gift voucher. So you would need to register for free on her website, and then any course or product you would like is a $50 discount on that. And then for Australia, Rachel Vaughan has created a beautiful crystal necklace. So the reason why it's for Australia, obviously, is because when we've got to send it to all parts of the world, it becomes incredibly expensive and all sorts of things. So Australia is then going to be gifted a handcrafted crystal necklace by Rachel Vaughan as well. So that's hamper 1 for Australia. Hamper 2 for South Africa, or pretty much Africa, really. Again, the book by Jessie, The Honeycomb Till Chanti, and Maria is giving a 1,500 Rand voucher for beautiful handcrafted linen clothing. So you will have, and that of course is for South Africa only, because again, to send the stuff is very expensive, far out, but she does have an international website as well. So you guys are welcome to check out her website, because she really, wow, she has got a special gift. And then, of course, as well, a personal aura reading with Beverly and a $50 gift voucher from Jessie. Hamper 3s for America, the UK, the rest of the world. But again, this one's got 3 books in. Faithful in All His House by Jessie, Honeycomb Tales by Chanti, Book of Miracles by Caleb Jade, or shall I say Caleb Jade's Book of Miracles would be that. And then again, a personal aura reading by Beverly and a $50 gift voucher for any of her courses by Jessie. So these are just, I really think, some incredible gifts. So this is how you enter. Subscribe to both of our channels, Aquarius Rising and SOULutions with Chanti, and that's on Facebook as well as YouTube. Okay, if you can, on Facebook. And then you comment CRACKERMISS 2025, as well as the country where you are living. So in other words, which country would you like to receive your giveaway from, right? And then there's a bonus entry sharing and tagging us and our sponsors on your social media. So 3 bonus entries. So if you share, tag us, as well as the people that are sponsoring the giveaway, you get 3 entries. So winners will be announced on Christmas Eve. And of course, this is open worldwide to anyone across the globe, because the only places that we will be sending stuff physically is Australia and South Africa. So I hope you all will join us, share this, and just, share it with everyone, share it with your friends, so that, we all just share the goodwill, right? I look forward to that. And then, of course, what's just arrived yesterday in South Africa, I've had the books, the Honeycomb Tales, Adventures of the Ankara Field. Actually, let me grab my copy quickly. And they arrived yesterday. So we have hard copies of the Ankara Field. Let me show you. I'm so chuffed. Check it out. Hard copies of it. And it's gorgeous, I must say. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I'm so happy. So nice when you see your stuff in print. Really gorgeous. So for those of you still looking for that special Christmas gift, stocking filler, whatever you want to, for any special kids in your life. And it doesn't have to be a kid, because it's your own child as well that you are nurturing, because all of us really just have that amazing little kid within us. So yay, that's our offerings for Christmas, and I hope you all join us in our festivity. So today we're going to be chatting again about, as I said, some of the music stuff. Interesting. So Mona, if you wouldn't mind just popping the first, well, actually, before you do, I mean, I just actually want to say something like this, because really, you know, for me, this is the really, really powerful stuff. It's like, how much power do you going up? Sorry, guys, my internet seems to be playing up. Can you all hear me? Okay, I saw myself go blank. All right. Okay, well, I think what we should just do is maybe pop on the video and the little segment, and then we can have a look at that. And yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Let's chat about what we're seeing here. Yeah.
Come on. I go way up. Don't say this, don't say that, change your lyrics. Everybody's a critic, it's getting kinda hectic. My rhyme is authentic, so it shall remain. My writing excites. It's getting kinda hectic. It's getting kinda hectic. It's getting kinda hectic. It's getting kinda hectic. Why go way up? Somebody, I go way up. Somebody, I go way up. Somebody, I go way up. I go way up. Don't go back, biters, go like crime writers. Give you a little party and now you don't know nobody. Diabolical fools pursuing happiness. Like and finesse, I'm left unimpressed. I heard you around a few times, each time you blew it. You're soft, you can't go off. I knew it, let's be realistic. I'm not egotistic, but your crew just not that artistic.
Bump it down, bump it up, do that thing. Triple, yo, triple, get down.
I got to say, Lisa D, I'm at the, that clip absolutely freaks me out. It annoys me to the point that I can't even begin to explain. Because what is the first thing we see there? Well, the first thing, I'm back, is the rhythmical music that they've used. Very, and we're going to also look a little bit into that as well, with actually our next clip. Can this thing just work now? My thing keeps cutting out. So I hope we're good. Hope you guys can hear me. Anyway, so what we're looking at there is a very rhythmical music, right? So the music is very rhythmical. It makes you want to get up and it makes you want to dance. So they've used incredibly rhythmical music. If you look at that clip as well, did we ever stop to think how many choreographers were flown around? And let's just, even if it was just America or Australia or South Africa, how many dance choreographers were flown around the world to teach health workers that routine? How many hours did it take those health workers to learn to dance that routine? While hospitals are overflowing, people are dying, right? You cannot even hug your kids or your grandparents or your grandkids during that time. But health workers wearing masks and, I don't know, suited up to the T are standing doing fucking dances in the middle of a pandemic. That to me makes me wonder if every health worker out there is involved in this, or were they really that hoodwinked? Because when you look at that, I mean, you look at, and you look at also in that little clip, you're seeing burly firemen doing this dance, right? These are our heroes, doctors, nurses, every one of those frontline workers that were our heroes, trying to manipulate us into complying. That's exactly what it is. Let me just see what's being said here in the chat. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, what you're saying, this is Marushka, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Marushka, the lady with the linen clothing. And it's so true what you're saying. Disgusting when you think of all the choreography, time, video, etc., for them dancing around the world like COVID idiots. Arrogance, zum Kotzen. I agree. Because, as I said, we were all locked up. Our family members were being persecuted, literally unalived in hospitals, while these people are dancing around on rooftops and acting like they give a shit about humanity. So I'm saying every health worker that partook in that deception, you need to think about your actions. You need to think about who you really are serving. I'm sorry, I'm calling them out for that. Because how do you think it's okay? And you can see those hospital corridors are empty when they're dancing up and down the corridors. Or what? Was that some kind of a movie set? Even worse, actually, if that's what it was. It's disgusting. Acting is the word. Yes, I agree. And Mama, what you're saying, highly MK ultra environment. Exactly. So, when we understand how all our frontline workers, when we're looking at our police, health workers, lawyers, doctors, all of these things, are they those who are supposed to be taking care of us human beings, right? That's why they're in those positions of authority. Anyway, I've done a little bit of a comparison again, not a comparison so much, but just looking at a couple of things that really strike home, and I think we should all really be aware of. Because rhythm is not entertainment. Rhythm is actually control technology. Now we're going to see in the next segment as well how that works. It really is controlled technology, and probably the oldest one, if not the oldest, behavioral technology on the earth. Think about that, actually. When we think about drum beating on the earth, the ancient tribes all had drums. Drumming was one of the ways that people connected, but not just to connect to the earth, because then those rhythmic drums from the earth became war drums. Then suddenly that turned, because remember, you've got to remember everything was shifted. So long before governments existed, or churches existed, long before media existed, human beings were controlled through rhythm. Think about this: military marching, doom, 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 doom. War drums, ritual chanting, tribal bonding and the beats, religious call and response, dance entrainment, and sexual rhythm patterns. Rhythm regulates breath, breath regulates emotion, and emotion regulates compliance. Now, emotion is either strong and flexible, or you can just bend it and break it, so to speak. So I would say when you control rhythm, you kind of control the human animal. Think about that. Why do we think they're so after the African kids? And I'm not saying they're the only ones that have rhythm. Many, many, many tribes out there have rhythm, but I can only really speak for what I know since I've grown up here. And what we know now is that the African kids are highly targeted for their rhythm and their connection to their ancestors, their spiritual connection to their ancestors. So, during the pandemic, we watched a global ritual unfold, didn't we? As we've just seen, these masked medical workers dancing in sync, pumping out limbic rhythms, all looking so awesome, showing us little hearts with their hands, while the rest of us sat in terrified freaking lockdown, right? People dying, etc., etc. They want us to believe that those were our cheerleaders. That was not cheerleading. That was entrainment psychology. Entrainment psychology. Because when a population is stressed and traumatized, as we were at the time, the leaders will use rhythm to normalize fear, override logical resistance. Think about that. Now, this is also a very good thing, because how many times do we talk about when you're feeling sad or feeling down or miserable? Go dancing, listen to beautiful music, dance, you'll feel better. Dancing is beautiful. But in the same way, when we're using rhythms of entrapment, as we can call it, then dancing becomes a trap and rhythm becomes a trap. We can trigger it, they can trigger group cohesion, like we've just seen, redirect anger. Think about, again, in South Africa, when recently Julius Malema has been in the news very, very much for his kill the boer, kill the farmer issues. And let me tell you, I grew up on the farm with African people, and I promise you, when the African people get together, and I loved it because I was always included in that, and they dance and they sing, there's a kind of beautiful harmonious rhythm that connects everyone, right? And at the same time, if you look at Malema and what he's been doing in these gatherings, where there's like 100,000 people, and they're going do, 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 do. And especially, African people are warring people. Kill the boer, kill the farmer, kill the boer, kill the and they are chanting that, and they are the feet are going in rhythm with 100,000 people. Now that is when we talk about redirecting anger. Like that's what I'm seeing. So they'll take that anger, turn it into music, but it doesn't mean it's not anger, because that then becomes the rhythm of the mind. And most definitely, it induces emotional numbness, right? Where when we're dancing for joy, we will transform emotional trauma through dancing, movement, and rhythm. But when you're using entrapment sounds, it's going to take you down, right? Replace critical thinking with good vibes. So suddenly all your critical thinking moves by the wayside. And yeah, you're just hanging on to the vibes now, right? We'll just dance it away. So your brain doesn't decide what rhythm does to you. Your mammalian brain reacts automatically. So heartbeat synchronizes, breath aligns, emotions soften, resistance drops, and tribal identification increases. That's what I was just saying. And that's what you're saying, exactly what you're saying, Mama. And it creates an energy field. So that tribal identification, being part of this cause, this unification, whatever the cause is you're working for. So it dissolves all those boundaries, and now you're working as one. And I know, yeah, as well, it's often been spoken about when there's a lot of violent crimes and things being admitted by a group of people. They'll get together, chant, dance, sing, get that adrenaline up. That's exactly what happens, right? Churches do it. We know that. Political rallies do it. I mean, let's just think about the churches. For those of us who watched Caleb Jade on this channel a while ago, he was a mage in the system, and they would go, well, yeah, they would go into churches and throw runes in the churches, and they would see who they could pretty much catch up and like get caught up. And usually that would be oftentimes the leaders and stuff like that. Listen, I'm saying if that leader or preacher, whatever he is not cool, then catch him, because those are the things that are going to catch him. But that's the level of deception that these guys go to entrap humanity and to entrap human beings. They walk into your churches pretending to be a cool guy and looking the part, but at the end of the day, nah. That's why you've got to always protect your own sovereignty. That's why I also think Jesus was saying you don't need to go to a church. Your body is your church, if you want to look at it that way. God lives within you. So you don't need a church. Get together, gather with the people that you feel safe and connected to, not strangers that you have no idea who the hell these people are and what the hell their intention is. Concerts, all these big concerts, we know by now that's a huge loosh harvesting exercise. Corporations do it. They pretty much buy your soul for money. We prostitute ourselves like that, don't we? We think prostitution is just happening with girls selling their body for sex. I don't want to get, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? No. You know, we have four, according to Carolyn Mace, she's one of the most amazing medical intuitives. We're all born with four archetypes. Now, I hope I can remember them all. The wounded child, absolutely, that inner child, the prostitute, the saboteur, and the victim. So we all have a victim mentality. We all prostitute ourselves at some point for something. We all feel like a victim. Or did I already say that? We all have a wonderful way of sabotaging ourselves, don't we? until we've learned how to not self-sabotage. So some of these things are innately within us, but we have got to absolutely transcend that. That's our purpose here. That's our journey here. So yeah, the human beings are, we really are rhythmic creatures, aren't we? We love rhythm. We love to dance. We love to harmonize. And that's what's being pretty much weaponized. So I guess the question remains, are you choosing your rhythm or is someone choosing your rhythm for you? And that's a very important question, because that's really what it boils down to. You know, if we look at that video clip earlier on, these people control so many people's rhythms, don't they? All those little health workers dancing on roofs and conning the world into believing all sorts of nonsense. But as you said, Mama, it's a highly MK ultra environment, because they, as far as I see it, have controlled a huge population of this world. Or do you dance to your own tune? I know that I certainly dance to mine. Anyway, so that was like really what the commentary that I had on that, and sort of the feedback I wanted to give on that, because I really think about this every time. You know, it's so amazing. And this is what I was saying, I think, in one of Jesse's shows this week as well. Sports in this country has been such a unifying factor. I remember the 1994 World Cup final. We won. South Africa, we'd been banned out of all international sport for decades. And that's when we were just entering the international sports arena again. Just after Nelson Mandela, I think, around about the time that he became president. And we played the World Cup final, in South Africa, and we won. It was such a unifying moment for this country. It really brought black and white people together, because rugby was always a white sport and soccer was predominantly a black sport. But that really brought the two tribes, we'll call us tribes, together. So, and I know it's the same where you guys are with your Super Bowls and stuff. But the question is, are we okay to really support that? And we've got to look at what we support, because if we choose to support that, Loosh, we're going to do it. And we're going to be there hanging on and shouting at the TV when we're watching the games. I think it's really a time for discernment. Hello, Kyle. Hello, Charmaine. So, something to look into. Anyway, I wanted to say actually something here as well. No, in fact, let's do the next segment when there's what's his name? Christian. Let's find his name. Okay, Mona, you can just pop it on.
If we are listening to a song, and I'm going to use a simple song like Jesus Loves Me, and I'm just going to say, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. The emphasis is on the one beat, okay? It's more of a march. Bum, 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 right? And now we can also move the accent. We can duplicate that and put it on the one and on the three. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Jesus loves me, this I know. Kind of like a child would sing it. It's innocent. It's on the 1 and 3. All we have to do is shift the accent to the 2, or to the 2 and the 4, or just the 3. Sounds kind of confusing, but it would be like this. Jesus loves me, this I know. Oh, for the Bible tells me so. Oh, little ones to him belong. Oh, all of a sudden you have what we would call like a rap or a hip hop feel. It's the same word, same type feeling of the same type of melody or whatever, but all we've done is move the accent. The moment we move the accent from the 1 or 3, it becomes a syncopated beat. Syncopation, by all occult experts around the world agree, syncopation is the source of occult power in pagan worship services.
Really?
Oh yeah. So this is profound to the Christian. Now we're in our homes, we're in our cars listening to Christian music that has all these beats and syncopated things in it, and we're going, oh, this is great, this is wonderful. What it actually does, just like it does to ancient voodoo worshippers and modern day voodoo worshippers in their religious services, is it short circuits the frontal moral lobe. It gets them to a place to where they can become possessed. It's called the place of the crossroads between the physical and the spiritual. And now in the church, we have this thing going on, and we call it the moving of the Holy Spirit. That's pretty profound thinking.
That's pretty profound, yeah.
Okay, so all of a sudden, we're getting our mind going, and we're getting, not our mind going, we're getting our emotions going. We're taking that frontal moral lobe and we're casting it off, and whatever the preacher's preaching goes in without interpretation. God said no. Reason with me. So I know right there, that is not a God, it's of the devil. Because the devil doesn't want us to reason out who he is, because if we really reasoned it out and what he stood for and what he's trying to do for us, we would run from him.
Exactly.
But because we're adopting his things and we're embracing his stuff, if you will, and his music, we run to him and run away from God.
How interesting is that? So it's not even so much about the words. We always seem to put so much emphasis on the words, and literally when we do that reverse playing as well, and often you can hear when you're playing certain music backwards, right? There's also hidden messages in that. But now what we're hearing is that it's not so much about the words, but the syncopation or the beat. And that guy, by the way, his name is Christian Berdal. And I did a little bit of research on him because someone said he disappeared. But after that video, you know, people love saying stuff like that as well. They love but he didn't. He's apparently just stepped back a bit more out of the limelight, and he's got a family and what have you, and is just not making as many movies or videos and stuff like that. But he's a Christian musician, and he came up with this understanding of how that works. So what he's saying is syncopation is used heavily in pop worship. So it bypasses logic, right? Activates again the mammalian brain, like we saw in the previous show, dissolves discernment. If my preacher says, then it must be, right? Induce subtle trance states and strengthen again group conformity, because most people are gathering together in a group where they sing and they worship together. And churches rely on these effects to maintain atmosphere, unity, tithing, engagement, and emotional bonding. Now let's think about that as well. How much competition is there actually in the church congregations amongst many of the congregation members? Sometimes it's about who's wearing the prettiest hat. Sometimes it's about whose husband got the promotion, or whatever it might be, or who tithes the most, who gives the most, who's the favorite to the pastor. Already there's that going on. So I know the churches definitely did not like what he was bringing out, because he pretty much named it out loud, and these institutions really don't like that. So I want to just actually check here, because there's just a section on the syncopation and the limbic brain that I brought up here, and why it actually bypasses logic. Syncopation is the disruption of the expected beat, basically. I'm trying to just put it in words, like the offbeat, like that sound the unpredictable pattern within music, if you can put it that way. So it doesn't work on your thinking brain. It works on your limbic system, right? The emotional, and the limbic system is the emotional, instinctive or emotional, instinctive mammalian brain. And it's the part of the brain that's responsible for bonding, desire, fear, memory, arousal, tribal belonging, and trance states. Hello, Adzorian, Abbas. Nice to see you, Amanda. So when this syncopation carries on, when it's repetitive over and over and over, there's a couple of things that pretty much occur. Mild disorientation, your brain predicts rhythm. Syncopation breaks prediction. Confusion opens the doorway for suggestibility. That's what happens. So when you're working with music that is in harmony with your energy, music is music. You're going to have amazing music and you're going to have disruptive music. So when you're working with music that's harmonious, right, your brain kind of works with that rhythm. But the syncopation breaks the rhythm and creates confusion and like openings in the cracks in the doorway. Emotional release. The unexpected beat triggers micro dopamine bursts. This feels like excitement or pleasure or energy, right? It's not necessarily that. You often find that, by the way, what I've seen is when people go to clubs and they take drugs, because the drugs and the music work very much in harmony with us. And I've literally seen that's when possession takes over, with the drugs, clubs, and the music. And obviously now what we're talking about, the syncopation, because this has been something that's been very interesting to me for a very long time. And the more I'm finding out now, the more I'm seeing how it works. So it's important that we can understand that, and not just for us, but for our kids, going to discos, going to school proms, whatever it might be. All of this is there. But if your child is strong and connected from their core, they're not going to be subjected to this. It doesn't matter, even if they go, they're not going to be subjected to it because they are protected. Just energetically, they are protected. Okay, weakened critical filters. You can't analyze and entrain simultaneously. When entrainment activates, analysis drops. So the fear, let's talk about the pandemic again. The fear of that pandemic completely overrode all healthy thinking, because the onslaught of the message was so strong. I mean, you've got to think about Operation Mockingbird. Yes, Mockingbird. Heightened sexual charge. Because syncopation hits the sacral rhythms of the body, breath, pelvis, pulse, it increases vulnerability and emotional openness. This is why wine, women, and song, isn't that like one of the age-old sayings? Wine, women, and song. And that can go in either direction, right? But basically, your barriers, your resistance, your natural good thinking breaks down. I've seen that a lot with people who take drugs as well. Lots of that. Suddenly, all barriers are gone. Groups exposed to syncopated rhythm synchronize emotionally, feeling connected even when nothing logical is happening. This is why mega church worship bands, mainstream pop music, political rallies, advertising, military psyops, protest choreography, TikTok dances. How many of those don't we see? All rely heavily on syncopation. It's not an artistic choice. It's not a natural, creative, artistic choice. It is behavioral engineering. That's what it is. So when we can realize these things, now guys, there are so many different rabbit holes you can go through here. I mean, these shows really, I'm doing them because I want to touch on things that I deem important. There's a lot of other things in the world as well that are important that other people are touching on. This for me is to how I've gotten through some very, very, very tricky situations in my life. And I'm not talking through manipulation. When you're trying to manipulate a situation, you're always going to come off second best. You might work once or twice, maybe 3 times, but eventually you're going to come off second best. But for me, and I really have, I've gotten through some life-threatening situations much more than once. And that is because there's a strong sense of connectedness I've always felt to my Creator, God. And I feel when that's off. I feel because it's like hearing the voice of my mother on the telephone. I know immediately it's my mother. And when someone phones me and says, Mom calling, and I answer and it's not my mother's voice, I'm going, who are you and where's my mother? It's that sort of thing for me. You will only know that through testing your abilities. You have to test your abilities to get stronger and to know what's God's rhythm and what's syncopation. Because it's very deceiving. Doesn't matter what YouTube tells you it's 432 hertz or whatever. Doesn't matter. You will know it and you will feel it. And not every music and not every rhythm and not every beat is right for all people, for everyone. There's many different things that different people enjoy. And this is the thing, and this is the real danger, which I also wanted to bring up. The limbic brain cannot tell the difference between God, euphoria, group bonding, sensual rhythm, manipulation, and entrainment. It only knows, wow, this feels good. This feels really good. I'm doing this. Why do you think so many people get addicted to drugs? Drugs feel really good when you've had a bad day or a bad life or whatever, right? So your brain, many drug addicts believe they're on a good path, they're on the right path. I worked with many drug addicts. I've been around them a lot. And only through spiritual strength do you understand the true discernment. So that's what I'm saying. It's like crazy when we're looking at this stuff. And when people don't understand how rhythm hijacks the nervous system, they mistake emotional stimulation for spiritual experience. If you think about how they work with kids and why they give them drugs, right? That's why. So I really think because music and rhythm is such a big part of our world, it's so important for us to be able to know this. That just because the music makes you feel good, it does not always mean it's taking you into the right place. When you've done the work on yourself, you will know what music works for you and what doesn't. That's just one part of it. Another thing is, again, overcoming that cognitive dissonance, right? Watching all these healthcare workers and thinking, oh, you brave heroes. You guys are so awesome. You're risking your life every day. Meanwhile, they're getting choreography and dance lessons from a choreographer flying around from all over the world. We've got to wake up to these things. And when we see it, we've got to call it out. When we see it, we've got to call it out. That's how we grow. Because the more we call things out, the more we say, no, that's bullshit, the more those around you are also going to probably see. And that's what we're here to do. Call it out, everybody. Call it out. Okay. And I'm not sure if we have anything else lined up or not.
The language of our potential intron DNA scientists used to call junk is actually not junk. It's sound, light, and symbols. And that is why music will save the world, because whoever controls the radio waves is controlling what scalar waves sound is communicating with our children's intron potential DNA, which codes for the proteins which are in adherence with the intention of the frequency of the sound of the artist and the record label who produced the music. So it's really important to be able to lift the consciousness of the radio waves and to activate our artists who are on the radio waves to lift their frequency, because every song that they play that is heard by our children is literally imprinting and activating the morphogenetic fields within our children. So let's take over the radio waves and lift the consciousness.
Well, there you have it. Like literally just confirming. So, and I love what that guy said there. I love what he said. He said, you know, when we're seeing our artists, our musicians on stage singing, dancing, let's absolutely do what we need to and can to uplift their frequency. Because remember, guys, we are all brothers and sisters. We really are. Even though some of our brothers and sisters can sometimes do atrocious things, we're all just walking each other home. And that's what this is about. So yeah, let's see. I think we might have had a little a last one at the end. I got to learn how to do that. Anyone knows that guy? Can you fly him over here? He's got to learn how to, he's got to show me how to learn how to maneuver my F-bombs into a How funny. Anyway, okay, that's it from me for today. And yeah, enjoy. All I want to say as well is, yeah, we enjoy dancing, enjoy the rhythm, enjoy nature, enjoy singing, enjoy that which is natural for you. And if you feel the desire to, as I was saying, what the last guy was saying is really amazing, to actually uplift someone on stage. If you see singers and things singing, you just send them uplifting energy so they can raise their frequency. And then that frequency is literally going to be exactly what turns it all over, right? So that's what flips the lid. That's what flips the darkness. So yeah, yeah, we do. Every creature has its own unique frequency. We as humans have thought that because we have dominion, we don't. We should be having stewardship, not dominion. That we are then tuned in harmoniously with every animal, every creature. But unfortunately, most of us think that we still have the right to kill and destroy. And while we are in that mindset, we are never going to know what it feels like to have that connection of oneness. You know, people say to me, what does it feel like to talk to an animal? Absolutely magnificent. When you feel that heart connection from your spirit to that animal spirit, you can't explain that. And you never want to hurt them again, because now you know how magnificent they are because you felt it in your heart. It's not just something that's mental here. It's a heart connection. And that's the same with every living creature, every living being, every tree, every plant has an aura, has a soul. No, plants have they have spirits. They don't have souls. Animals and humans have souls, not plants. They have the spirit. Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell. And I'm going to say to you, enjoy the rest of your beautiful day, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you are. Enjoy. I am interviewing later. So Jamie J, and sorry, not Jamie J, I beg your pardon. Holly Baglio and Chris Latera, but we're not going live. We're doing a pre-recorded show. So that'll be on the schedule in the next couple of days as well. So watch out for that one. The Montauk Survivors. I still say, you know, this Montauk stuff is probably the most, that to me is the barrel that everything is being going towards. All the torture is for what they can, what they're trying to achieve at Montauk, which is pretty much for control, power, yes, but to break through into the other realms and bring those energies here, in here, so that they can have more control. It's a war. It's a war zone. And all we got to do is keep the peace, but it comes from within. So everybody, on that note, keep humming, keep buzzing, just keep being cool, and have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Stay strong, stay warm. I know all you Americanos, you're getting some shitty weather down there. We've got lovely weather here, and I'm so happy to have our sun back. Take it easy, everybody. God bless you.